The human pilot, Mark Hawley, opened his eyes to darkness and pain. His small supply ship lay half buried in white snow, metal bent like paper. A freezing wind howled through every broken window. His breath came out as thick white smoke. His fingers were already getting numb. He tried to move, but every joint hurt. The crash had thrown him hard across the cockpit. He checked the controls, dead. The heater panel, dead. The emergency beacon half broken, blinking weakly. He hit it again and again, but the signal was too faint. No warm shelter. No working ship. No rescue coming soon. The cold was killing him fast. He pushed himself out of the seat and grabbed a torn jacket from the floor. The moment he stepped outside, the storm slapped him across the face like a wall of knives. Snow hit his skin with painful speed. His boots sank deep into the frozen ground. Mark had survived many planets, dangerous ones, wild ones, toxic ones. But this world felt wrong. It was too quiet under the storm, too empty, too cold. Even the air tasted sharp. He wrapped his arms around himself and walked away from the ship, hoping to find any kind of shelter. A rock, a cave, a hole, anything. But there was nothing. Only endless white and screaming wind. He heard it, not the wind. Not the storm. Footsteps. Soft, fast, not human. Mark froze. His heart thumped painfully. He looked left and right, but the snow was too thick. The world was just a white blur. The footsteps came closer. His instincts screamed danger. He bent down and grabbed the metal pipe from the crash debris, holding it tight with shaking hands. He forced his breath to slow down. Then he saw her. A silhouette at first, then a shape, then a person. A thin woman walked out of the storm with glowing blue skin. Dark hair stuck to her frozen cheeks, and bright silver eyes that reflected fear and desperation. Her clothes were torn and covered in frost. She looked half frozen, half wild, like someone who had been hiding from the world for too long. She stared at him, shocked to see a human. Mark lifted the metal pipe just a little higher. She took one shaky step forward. "You," she whispered, her voice trembling like broken glass. "You will die out here." Mark swallowed hard. "I know," he said. She looked around quickly, panic rising on her face. Her teeth were chattering. Her fingers were blue from cold. "You have no heater," she muttered, shaking her head. "No shelter. No warmth. The storm tonight will kill you in minutes." Mark took a step back. "Then why are you here?" She blinked slowly, as if the question hurt. "Because I have nowhere else to go." The wind pushed between them, almost knocking her down. She stumbled, then forced herself forward and grabbed Mark's arm with surprising strength. "Come," she said sharply. "Now." He pulled his arm back. "Why should I trust you?" Her silver eyes flashed, not angry, but desperate. "Because if you stay here, you freeze," she said. "And if you freeze, I cannot." She stopped herself. "Just come. You will understand." Before Mark could think, she gripped his wrist again and dragged him through the storm with more strength than her thin body should have. He tried resisting. "Hey, stop. Where are you taking me?" She didn't answer. She just pushed forward through the white wind with fierce determination. Minutes felt like hours. His legs burned. His fingers felt dead. His vision blurred. Finally, a dark shape appeared through the snow, a small rocky cave, barely big enough for two people. She pulled him inside. The moment they stepped in, the sound of the wind died. The world became strangely quiet again. She knelt quickly and opened a pile of glowing alien furs that gave off faint heat. Mark backed away. "What is this?" She looked at him with a serious, almost painful expression. "Get in," she ordered. "In? There? With you?" She nodded. "You will freeze alone. Only shared warmth works." She held his gaze. "Human, If you stay outside those furs for even 5 minutes, you die." Mark stared at her, the strange blue woman from a storming alien world. And then she said the words that made his heart jump. "Get in my bed now, or you will not live to see the morning." Mark lay under the glowing alien furs, his body shaking as the last bits of cold left his skin. The warmth was soft, almost alive. He could feel it pulsing like a slow heartbeat. The alien woman lay beside him, keeping a small distance, her back turned slightly, as if she didn't want to make him uncomfortable. But even with space between them, he could feel the heat of her blue skin. It was the only reason he was still alive. Minutes passed, then an hour. Mark felt his fingers again. His breathing slowed. But his mind didn't rest. He kept watching her, this strange blue woman who dragged him into a cave and demanded he share warmth like it was normal. He finally spoke. "What's your name?" She didn't turn. "Names do not matter here. They matter to me." She stayed silent for a long moment. Then, softly she answered, "Leary, Leary," he repeated. "Thank you for saving me." She stiffened, as if his thanks hit her like something painful. "I did not save you," she said slowly. "I only prevented your death." "That's the same thing." "No," she whispered. "It is not." Mark frowned. Something in her voice was broken, heavy, like she was carrying years of hurt. He sat up a little. "Why did you bring me here? You could have left me in the snow." She finally turned her head slightly, eyes glowing in the dim light. "Because I know what freezing feels like." Mark noticed something then, thin white scars on her wrists, hidden under layers of torn cloth. They weren't old scars. They looked like the marks of restraints, shackles. He didn't ask yet. He could see she wasn't ready. Instead, he said, "Your people, where are they? Do you live near here?" Her face darkened. "No, I live nowhere." "You mean you're alone on the whole planet?" "Yes." Her voice broke for the first time. "And I will remain alone. Forever." Mark felt a cold fear that had nothing to do with temperature. "Why?" She looked away again. "Because I am an exile, a traitor. Cursed." The words hit him like stones. Before he could speak again, she added, "You must sleep now. Your body is still weak. If the cold returns, you won't survive." She lay back down, turning her back once more, like she didn't want him to see her face. But he wasn't going to sleep. Not yet. Mark shifted closer carefully, slowly until he could feel her warmth more fully. She jumped slightly, surprised. "What are you doing?" she asked sharply. "You said shared warmth keeps us alive," he said. "You're shivering too." She froze. I am fine." "No, you're not." He placed a hand gently on her arm. She flinched, like she wasn't used to being touched. After a long silence, she whispered, "My body loses heat faster than yours. It is a defect. Another reason they cast me out." Mark frowned. "That's not a defect. That's being alive." She didn't answer. Hours passed. The storm outside grew louder, wind hitting the rocks like claws scraping stone. Mark could feel her breathing slowly, carefully, like someone trained to stay quiet her whole life. When she finally spoke again, her voice was barely a breath. "You should fear me, human." "Why would I fear you?" "Because my kind, we feed on warmth. We take it from others when we are starving." She paused, her voice shaking. "But I refused. And for that, they chained me. They called me useless, dangerous, broken." Mark stared at the scars on her wrists again. "That's why you're exiled?" he asked softly. "Because you refused to hurt someone." She nodded. A tear fell silently down her blue cheek. He moved closer again without thinking. She stiffened but didn't pull away. "I'm not afraid of you," he said quietly. "You should be," she whispered. "I am hungry. I have not shared warmth with anyone for many seasons." He gave a soft smile. "Then share it now. I'm not going anywhere." Her eyes widened as if no one had ever spoken to her like that. The storm roared louder outside. Inside the cave, she slowly reached for his hand and held it tightly, like someone who had been alone far too long. But she didn't see what Mark saw next. A shadow moved outside the cave entrance. Something big. Something alive, watching them and waiting. The fireless cave fell quiet again, but Mark did not rest. His eyes stayed fixed on the cave entrance where he'd seen something move in the storm. The shadow had been large, too large for a normal animal, too slow to be just wind, too steady to be imagination. Leary noticed him staring. "Human, what is wrong?" "There's something outside," Mark said softly. "Something watching us." Her expression changed instantly. Fear washed over her face. Not small fear, deep fear. She slowly sat up, pulling the glowing furs tight around her shoulders. "Describe it," she whispered. "A shadow, big, slow-moving." Leary closed her eyes as if she already knew. "Night beasts," she said. "They hunt anything warm." Mark tightened his grip around the metal pipe he'd carried from the crash. "So they smell heat?" "They smell weakness," she corrected. "They sense bodies shaking, hearts racing. They follow the fear. And they know we're here." She nodded, shaking slightly. "Yes, and they never stop once they mark you." A deep, low growl rolled through the cave entrance like thunder. The sound crawled up Mark's spine. It was close. Too close, Leary's. Breath trembled. "Do not move. Do not speak. Do not show fear." Mark looked at her. "You're shaking." "I am always shaking," she whispered. "That is why they hunt me the most." Another growl dashed closer. Then the scratching started, sharp. Claws scraped against the stone entrance, slow, testing, feeling, searching. Mark's heart pounded. Leary grabbed his hand tightly, her cold fingers digging into his skin. "It cannot enter unless we panic," she whispered, more to herself than him. "Stay calm." But a sudden crack from outside made her flinch, and the beast roared. The cave shook from the sound. Mark rose to his feet instantly. Leary grabbed his arm, terrified. "No, if you fight, it will break through." "It will break through anyway," he said. "But it won't take you." Leary stared at him like he had spoken something impossible. "Why do you care? You owe me nothing." "You saved me," he answered. "Now it's my turn." Before she could argue, a massive dark shape forced itself halfway through the entrance. Its head was wolf-like, but twice the size. Its eyes glowed red. Its teeth were long and curved like ice daggers. Steam rose from its nostrils. Mark stepped forward, gripping the metal pipe with both hands. The beast lunged. Mark swung. The metal pipe slammed against the beast's skull with a loud crack. The creature roared again, shaking its head and scraping deeper inside. "Mark," Leary cried, "you cannot kill it. They tear metal like leaves." He didn't care. He struck again, this time aiming for the glowing eyes. The pipe bent from the impact, denting against the beast's thick bone. The beast snapped its jaws inches from Mark's arm. Leary screamed. "Stop, get back!" But Mark didn't retreat. He pushed forward with all his strength, using the pipe like a spear, trying to force the creature back through the opening. Snow blew inside as the beast clawed harder, trying to widen the entrance. Mark's arms burned. His breath came fast. But he kept pushing. Then another roar outside. Not the same beast. Another one. Leary's face drained of all color. Two night beasts. "Mark, we must run." "We can't outrun them," he said. "Yes, we can." Her voice cracked. "There's a deeper tunnel behind the cave. They cannot reach inside." He didn't look away from the beast. "Then go." "What? Go," he shouted. "I'll push it back. You run inside and guide me." For a moment, she froze, torn between fear and something else. Something like trust. Then she grabbed the glowing furs, threw them onto the tunnel entrance behind them, and yelled, "Mark! This way!" The beast pushed again, almost forcing its whole body inside. Mark shouted and slammed the pipe down one last time, surprising the creature enough to lose balance. In that brief moment, he turned and ran. Leary grabbed his hand and pulled him into the narrow tunnel. The walls were tight and sharp. The storm and the beast's roars echoed behind them. They ran until the tunnel became too small for the beasts to follow. Only then did they stop breathing hard, shaking, clinging to the walls. For balance, Leary touched his shoulder, her eyes wide with something new. Something she had not felt in a long time. "No one has ever fought a night beast for me," she whispered. Mark looked at her, exhausted but steady. "Get used to it." But neither of them knew the beasts weren't giving up, and they had already called others. The narrow tunnel was dark, cold, and painfully tight. Mark and Leary leaned against the stone walls, breathing heavily as the echoes of the night beasts faded behind them. The smell of dust and old air filled the space. Leary held the small glowing fur in her hands like a fragile lantern. Mark wiped the sweat from his forehead. "We need another way out." Leary nodded, still trying to control her shaking. "This tunnel leads to the ridge above the valley. My people used these paths long ago, before they drove me away." Mark looked at her. "Why did they drive you away, really?" She hesitated. Her eyes lowered, but before she could answer, a sudden sound froze them both. Voices, more than one, coming from ahead in the tunnel. Not beast voices, alien voices. Leary's face turned pale. No. What is it?" Mark whispered. She grabbed his arm, pulling him backward. "We must hide. They cannot see you with me." Mark frowned. "Why? They will kill you too," she hissed. "A human with an exile? They will call you corrupted." Before they could move, bright white lights flashed from deeper in the tunnel, followed by the sound of weapons being raised. A group of tall blue-skinned aliens stepped out from the shadows. Their armor was sharp and metallic, cold silver-like frozen moonlight. Their eyes glowed the same color as Leary's, but without the softness hers carried. They looked at her with pure hatred. The leader stepped forward, his voice deep and sharp. "Leary of the Frostline, the outcast, the cursed." Leary fell to her knees, trembling. I do not want trouble. I only want to live." "You have no right to live," the leader said. "Your existence brings danger to the tribe." Mark stepped forward instinctively. "Stop," the leader snapped at him. "Human, do you understand who you stand beside? This creature is a traitor. She refused the right of warmth. She protected an enemy. She betrayed her blood." Mark clenched his fists. "She saved me." The alien's eyes widened, astonished and disgusted at the same time. "You allowed her to share warmth with you?" One soldier spat. "Disgusting." "Impossible," another muttered. "She would starve before saving anyone." Mark stepped in front of Leary. "She risked her life for me. She dragged me out of a storm. She didn't have to." The leader raised a sharp staff toward him. "Human, if you defend her, you take her curse, and we will end you both." Leary grabbed Mark's sleeve, whispering desperately, "Please, stop. I don't want them to hurt you." A soldier spoke coldly. "She is dangerous, human. Her kind feed on warmth. When she grows hungry, she will drain you dry." Mark shook his head. "She didn't drain me. She protected me." The soldiers exchanged confused looks. The leader's eyes narrowed. "That is even worse. A defective predator is more dangerous than a hungry one." Leary burst into tears, shaking violently. "I am not dangerous. I could not hurt the child. I could not take her warmth. She was weak. She would have died." Mark's heart dropped. "A child?" The leader raised his staff, glowing bright blue. "Enough. You will return with us. Your punishment will be completed." and the human will die for standing beside you. Mark lifted the bent metal pipe, ready to fight even though it was pointless. Leary grabbed the weapon and pushed it down. No. You cannot fight them. Their armor is reinforced ice steel. Your metal pipe will bend like snow. I'm not letting them kill you, Mark said. She shook her head, tears falling. But I cannot let you die for me. The leader stepped forward, raising his weapon high. And then the tunnel shook. A tunnel shook. Massive roar echoed behind the soldiers. The night beasts had followed the worm trail. They crashed into the tunnel entrance with terrifying force, biting and clawing. At the aliens, the soldiers shouted in panic. 2 were dragged down immediately. The leader screamed orders, swinging his glowing staff, trying to push the beasts back. Leary grabbed Mark's hand. Now, run! They sprinted toward the far end of the tunnel while chaos exploded behind them, roars, screams, breaking stone. Echoing terror. As they reached the exit and climbed into the icy night air, Mark looked back once more. The leader was still alive, and he saw Mark escape with Leary. His voice echoed through the storm. Human! You cannot protect her forever. We will find you, both of you. Leary tugged Mark away, breathing hard, eyes full of fear. Mark. Now they will hunt us both. And the storm swallowed their silhouettes as they ran into the frozen night. The night sky was a blur of white as Mark and Leary ran across the frozen ridge. Wind cut their faces like blades. Snow stuck to their clothing until they looked like moving shadows in a world of ice. Behind them, the faint screams of Leary's people mixed with the howls of night beasts and echo of chaos. They had barely escaped. Mark slowed down only when he felt his legs burning. Leary, wait. Please. She stopped beside a jagged ice rock, chest rising and falling fast. Her hands shook uncontrollably. Her silver eyes were wide with fear. But something else too, guilt. We can rest here, Mark said softly. No. She looked around anxiously. They will hunt us again. Maybe not tonight, but soon. Mark stepped closer. Then tell me the truth, Leary. I need to understand what I'm running from. She lowered her head, tears freezing on her cheeks. You will leave if I tell you. I won't, Mark said firmly. You should, she whispered, voice cracking. Mark reached out and gently held her arm, careful, slow, so she wouldn't flinch. I trust you, Leary, but I need to know what happened. She exhaled shakily and sat on the ground, hugging her knees. Mark sat beside her, waiting. Finally she spoke. When I was younger, she began, voice soft, my tribe gave me a task. A cruel task. I was ordered to take warmth from a child, an outsider child, a human child left behind by old explorers. Mark's eyes widened. A human? Leary nodded painfully. Yes, a little girl, weak, sick, alone, my people believed. Humans carried strong warmth. They wanted to test it. She looked at her scarred wrists. They chained the girl. They chained me. They told me to feed. Mark's stomach twisted. But you didn't. No, she said. I refused. I broke the rule of our kind. We survive on warmth. We take what we need. But she choked. I could not hurt her. She held my hand. She was so cold. So small. She looked at me and said, please, don't let me die. Leary wiped her tears with shaking fingers. Screamed for them to stop. I begged. They did not listen. They dragged the child away. They called me weak, defective, a traitor. Then they exiled me to this frozen land to starve. Mark felt his chest tighten. You protected a child. They saw it as betrayal, she whispered. Our laws are harsh. Survival is everything. Mercy is dangerous. Mark understood now why she trembled, why she avoided touch, why her body shivered even near warmth. Leary, what happened to the human girl? He asked gently. Leary's voice broke. I don't know. After exile, I never saw her again. Sometimes I hear her voice in the wind, begging me to protect her. Mark felt a heavy pain in his chest. He placed a comforting arm around her shoulders. She stiffened at first, then slowly leaned against him like someone who had never been held before. "You did the right thing," he said quietly. "Saving a child is never wrong." "No," she whispered. "It is the reason they want me dead, and now they want you dead too." Mark squeezed her shoulder gently. "Then I'll stay with you. I'm not letting them hurt you." Her head snapped up, eyes wide, shining with fear. "Mark, no. Humans cannot survive long here. You will die because of me." "I'll take that risk." She trembled harder. "Please, don't speak like that. I cannot bear it." Suddenly, she grabbed his face with cold hands and stared into his eyes. "You don't understand," she said, voice shaking. "If you stay with me, you won't only risk your life. You will change mine. You will break every rule of my kind. I will be hunted forever. You will never see your home again." Mark gently held her hands. "Maybe this is my home now." She gasped softly like his words stabbed her heart, with hope she wasn't allowed to feel. Before either of them could speak again, the wind shifted and a deep horn echoed through the valley. I froze. "No, that sound, it's them." Mark's eyes narrowed. "Your tribe?" She shook her head slowly, fear swallowing her voice. "No, Mark." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "That sound means the High Hunters are coming." She gripped his arm tightly. "They are not here to capture us. They are here to erase us." And somewhere in the distance, 3 glowing eyes appeared in the snow. The horn echoed through the frozen valley again, deeper this time, shaking the air around Mark and Leary. Snow fell from the cliffs as the sound rolled across the land like a warning from ancient mountains. Mark tightened his grip on the bent metal pipe. "Who are the High Hunters?" Leary's breathing turned sharp, almost panicked. "They are the strongest warriors of my tribe. They hunt criminals, they hunt rebels, and they hunt exiles." "And us," Mark said quietly. "Yes," she whispered. "They will not stop. Not until they erase every trace of us." A cold wind swept across the ridge. Far away, 3 glowing eyes appeared, slow, steady, moving through the storm with purpose. Mark looked back. "We need shelter." Leary shook her head. "There is no shelter from them. They track heat, sound, breath. They can smell fear. They will find us anywhere." "Then we keep moving," Mark said firmly. But Leary didn't move. She stood frozen, trembling, staring at the glowing eyes. "Leary," Mark said softly, "look at me." She didn't respond. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "Leary." Her voice cracked. "I am not strong enough to face them. I am not like the others. I am defective. I cannot fight. I cannot feed. I cannot even stop shaking." Mark stepped in front of her, lifting her chin with gentle fingers. "Listen to me. You're not defective. You saved a child. You saved me. That's strength." Her eyes filled with tears, silver and bright, even in the storm. "No one has ever spoken kindly to me," she whispered, voice trembling. "No one has ever stayed." Mark brushed a snowflake from her cheek. "I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere." A sound behind them, boom. A blast of blue energy hit the ridge, sending snow exploding into the air. Mark covered Leary as ice shards flew past. "They're close!" Leary cried. The glowing eyes approached faster, the horn echoing again. Leary grabbed Mark's arm. "There is one place the hunters cannot enter." "Where?" She pointed toward a cliff edge where a narrow opening was hidden under thick snow. A resonance cave, very old, very deep. The walls block heat, block sound, but it is dangerous. "How dangerous?" she swallowed. "The cave steals warmth. Anyone inside loses heat faster. Even our kind only enter in pairs. Good, Mark said. We're a pair. She shook her head violently. No, you don't understand. The cave drains humans twice as fast. You will die within hours. Mark glanced at the glowing eyes, approaching, and shrugged. Better than dying out here. Leary hesitated, then gripped his hand tightly. Stay close. She led him toward the cliff. Another blast hit the snow behind them, sending a shockwave through the air. Mark stumbled, but Leary pulled him forward with surprising strength. They reached the narrow opening. Cold air rushed out, colder than anything Mark had felt before. Together, she whispered. They stepped inside. Darkness swallowed them immediately. The cave was silent, deadly silent. Every sound felt like it had been eaten by the walls. The temperature dropped so fast Mark shivered violently within seconds. Leary pressed close to him, holding his arms tightly. Do not let go. They moved deeper until the glow of the entrance disappeared. Only the faint light from Leary's skin lit the cave with a soft blue hue. Mark's teeth chattered uncontrollably. I can't feel my fingers. The cave is draining you already, Leary said, panic rising. We must share warmth now, or you will die. Before he could respond, she pulled him down onto a flat stone, wrapped the glowing furs around them both, and pressed herself tightly against him, her arms around his chest, her forehead against his neck. Her body shook, but her hands were warm. Warmer than before. Breathe with me, she whispered. Match your breath to mine, Mark tried. His breaths came fast at first, shaking, weak, but Leary guided him. In, slow, out, slow. Little by little, Mark felt warmth returning. Not from the furs, not from the cave, but from Leary herself. She placed his hand over her chest. Do you feel that? Her heart beat. Steady. Strong. Rhythmic. Now match it, she whispered. He closed his eyes. One beat, then another. Slowly, his heart began to sync with hers, two rhythms becoming one. Leary gasped softly. Her skin glowed brighter. What's happening? Mark whispered. Her voice shook. This should not be possible. Humans cannot sync with our kind. But we just did. She stared at him with wide, shining eyes, her breath trembling against his neck. Mark. When two heartbeats sync, she whispered, voice shaking. It means a bond has formed. A bond? He repeated. A life bond, she said. Human, you just bound yourself to me. Mark blinked. What does that mean? Leary swallowed. Hard. It means if I live, you live. If I die, you die. And at the cave's entrance, the High Hunters finally arrived. The entrance of the Resonance Cave glowed blue as the High Hunters arrived. Their armor lit the darkness like cold fire. Their sharp weapons hummed with power. Their eyes, three sets of glowing silver, swept the cave mouth, searching for movement. Mark and Leary sat deeper inside, pressed together under the glowing furs. Mark could feel her heartbeat racing, now faster than before, almost painful. Leary, he whispered, what does a bond mean for your people? She looked away, ashamed. It is the most forbidden thing. Our kind only bond when trust is complete. When hearts choose each other, my people fear it. Because a bond makes two souls one. It makes us less alone. Mark gently held her cold hands. Then I'm not afraid. She shook her head, trembling. You don't understand. If they discover this bond, they will destroy us both. It breaks every law. But saving you is not breaking the law to me, Mark said. Her breath caught in her throat. She didn't speak. She couldn't. At the cave entrance, the High Hunter leader stepped forward, his sharp staff glowing brighter. Leary of the Frostline, his voice thundered. We know you are inside. Come out now. End the foolishness. The human cannot protect you. His voice echoed through the cave like thunder. Leary closed her eyes tightly. Mark, we can hide deeper. The resonance may confuse them. No, Mark said. They'll keep searching until they find us. We need to face them. You cannot fight them. She whispered. They are trained. They are armed. They are bred for war. Mark smiled softly. Yeah, but I'm human. Leary looked at him like he was insane. Humans cannot beat high hunters. He shrugged. Good thing I'm not alone. Then, her eyes widened as she realized what he meant. Their bond. Their shared heartbeat, their combined warmth. Mark stood, pulling Leary with him. As soon as they moved, pain shot through their bodies like the cave was punishing them for rising. But Mark held her steady. We do this together, he whispered. Leary swallowed hard. Together, they moved toward the cave entrance. The high hunters saw the faint blue glow of Leary's skin and raised their weapons. The leader stepped forward. Human, you are foolish. She is a cursed exile. She will drain your warmth and kill you. Mark kept walking. Then why am I still alive? The hunters hesitated. Leary stepped beside Mark, voice strong even while shaking. He lives because I choose for him to live. I do not harm. I do not feed without need. I am not cursed. I am not broken. The leader snarled. Silence. You dared bond with this creature? Mark stepped forward sharply. Creature? She saved. A child. She saved me. She protected life while you wanted her to kill. The leader's eyes glowed like burning ice. Bonding with an exile means death. Human, you have broken our law. You have tied your life to hers. That's right, Mark said. So if you want her, you go through me. Silence. Then the leader lifted his staff. So be it. The high hunters lunged. Mark pushed Leary behind him and swung the bent metal pipe with full force. The pipe slammed into the first hunter's helmet, cracking the ice-steel armor. The hunter staggered back, shocked that a human blow could hurt him. The second hunter struck with a glowing blade. Mark blocked with the pipe. Sparks flew. The impact sent pain shooting up Mark's arms, but he didn't let go. The third hunter tried to flank them, but Leary stepped forward, glowing brighter than Mark had ever seen. She pressed her hands to the cave wall. The resonance reacted. A deep hum filled the cave. The air vibrated. The ground trembled. The hunters stumbled, unable to keep balance. What are you doing? Mark shouted. I cried. The cave responds to our bond. It amplifies our heartbeats. Mark understood instantly. He grabbed Leary's hand. The cave pulsed in response, boom, sending a wave of vibration through the air. The hunters were thrown back, crashing into the rocks near the entrance. The leader roared and charged again. But Mark stepped in front, blocking him. You will not touch her. The leader swung his weapon. Mark ducked and slammed the pipe into the leader's knee. The armor cracked. The leader fell to one knee. Leary stepped forward, her glow bright enough to light the entire cave. You will not take my life, she whispered. You will not take his life. I am not exile. I am not cursed. I am Leary of the Frost Line. And I choose to live. Her voice echoed through the cave like a new law being born. The resonance walls responded with a deep, powerful hum. The hunters crawled away, terrified. The leader glared at Mark and Leary one last time. This bond will destroy both your worlds. Mark pulled Leary close. Then we build a new one. The hunters fled into the storm, defeated. The cave went silent again. Leary collapsed into Mark's arms, trembling but alive. He held her tight, feeling her heartbeat sinking with his again. Mark, she whispered softly, voice shaking. You came into my bed to survive. She looked into his eyes with tears shining like diamonds. But now, please stay because I don't want to be alone anymore. Mark kissed her cold forehead gently. Then you'll never be alone again. Outside, the storm finally began to fade. A new dawn touched the frozen world with soft light. A new beginning for a human and an alien bound by warmth and choice.